think outside the grant. I know it's easy to believe that grants succeed or fail are risky in and of themselves. That's not my cell phone. It's not true. Grants are fungible. They interact with other forms of revenue or capital, the field, the economy, and especially in the high-risk environment we face, we need to acknowledge that, and here's how. First of all, think about risk outside the grant. I've talked about that a little bit. The real risk in any of our work, nonprofit and funder alike, is the ultimate beneficiary. The child that fails to get a polio vaccination, goes home to an abusive parent, or doesn't learn to read. All other risk is beside the point, can be calculated and managed. The real risk is to the people we serve. The film was more eloquent than I can possibly be. Avoid unfunded processes and mandates. Think net grants. How much did it cost your grantee to acquire a grant from you? Subtract it from the grant, and that's the net grant available to serve the public. And third, fund the enterprise. Avoid making the grant special unless the grantee asks you to. It's not special, it's money. Buy the outcomes the grantee plans rather than focusing on inputs. And finally, enterprise friendliness in action number 3. If we haven't learned that accounting is destiny, we haven't read the paper lately. There's plenty of really bad accounting to go around, and it's driven us toward bad outcomes, right? It can also drive us toward positive ones. The way we account for money and results is a powerful determinant of what happens. For example, if we have a business model that drives, that counts foster care success as kids in beds, we will have a business model that means more kids in beds, not necessarily more kids with lives. We can change those business models by changing the way we account for success and the way that aligns with how money flows. Actions for grant makers, number 1, encourage an accounting treatment that separates capital infusions and expenditures from ordinary revenue and expenses. Ours doesn't now do that in most GAAP accounting. George Overholser, again, has innovated a segue treatment, an accounting treatment that pulls that apart for use in capital campaigns. I say you can use it every day of the week. It'll help reveal whether organizations actually are solvent or not and what to do about that. Number 2, encourage metrics and accounting treatments and reporting that support peer comparisons rather than assume a single standard of health. That way we can learn from each other and all be coming up the same positive growth curve. It's not about putting a bell jar over a hermetic business model. It's about field-wide learning, and that requires comparables. And finally, focus more attention on reports, actual results, than on applications, inputs, plans, budgets, etc., which we are all obsessed by, I'll tell you. It's not that they're not good tools, it's just not what you're buying. It's like going into Macy's to buy a pair of boots and saying, well, what's your overhead rate? You know, I'm not sure I'm going to buy these boots, but I don't have to go on. Okay. I realize this is a lot of information, and I'm going to stop here with the onslaught of things to do, because I think people will start putting their heads down on their tables and crying in a minute. I don't want that to happen. I don't want us to be encouraged by this. But I wanted to set us on our course with some new, accurate assumptions. Most of you in the room have already done terrific work moving in this direction, and I will not try to recognize everyone in the room because I would end up recognizing everybody in the room and we'd be here for 3 days. We worked on some steps in this direction in a symposium with Harvard's Hauser Center in 2007 called Capital Ideas that was co-convened with NFF by Liz Keating and Kathy Bickle, who were here. But we hope that the contributions from the larger group for the next 2 days can take us forward even more powerfully than we have done thus far. We not only have an opportunity here, we have a moral imperative for improvement. With a financial system in chaos, our sector will be required to do more. Adversity fosters innovation, and battlefield medicine will be very much in order. The conversations we hope to have over the next 2 days will inform forward motion toward a new paradigm for grant making, centered on whole enterprise finance. Thank you very much.